camera that is on your phone right now is a better camera than Hollywood was using 20 years ago. The camera is not your problem. The problem is the macro. You're scared to post because you're worried about what other people think. I'm a purebred entrepreneur for real, like documented.
Been through the mud and now I'm growing in sunshine.
You can imagine the energy that I had in my body flying out here from Manhattan. I'm gonna talk to thousands of people who are in the best market during the most scaled, free attention platform in the history of marketing, and yet 98% of the people in this room won't actually do anything about it. This is what's called a conundrum. But this is gonna be awesome. This new overrated, underrated concept. I love this. I'm gonna do it. Overrated, underrated. Here we go. Mocktails, underrated, huge business. Formula One, properly rated. The hype of Netflix got it crazy, so now it's proper. Fresco Trey, underrated super rapper. He's coming, I'm telling you. Kelp noodles, wildly underrated. You wanna keep those carbs down and those calories? Kelp. St. Patrick's Day, overrated for some because they get cocked. Underrated for others. Seltzer, spiked, very, very overrated. It's just over. Indianapolis, about to be massively underrated. VCon's coming, you heard? Vlogging, Dustin does it, you can't see him. Oh, actually, you did see him. Vlogging, underrated. March Madness, wildly underrated because I'm gonna win the office pool this year. I haven't won in 13 years, but I will. And Burn Island, wildly underrated. If you don't understand what's going on with VeeFriends, you're lost. I can't believe I did that so well. Because the switches are tough, but like if I keep it within that first second or two, I think it's gonna work.
Got a tattoo on my arm that's for protection. While they double crossing me, I'm counting blessings. Swerving in and out of lanes, watch for pedestrians. Keep them guessing.
You don't look at internet culture and think, oh my gosh, yikes.
I think what's important is to understand what are we demonizing and what are we scared of. So to me, privacy is controllable. If somebody's listening right now and they're like, no way, Gary, you're so wrong. I'm like, delete the apps. The world has fallen in love with pointing fingers. It's your fault. You're media. It's my fault. I'm social media. Why are we not into thumbs?
How do you stay motivated in a landscape that's yelling at you and pointing fingers?
Because I have no attachment to the validation and or the tearing down. See, one of the great things when you don't believe in your own headlines is you don't believe in the trolling either. When you are actually in a state of doing things for yourself, not the addiction of the validation of the likes or the treachery of being torn down, you're in a much better place. I'm motivated because I'm detached.
A stoic line to end on. I don't know if I believe you that you're detached.
Well, I think that's only because you don't know me, which I respect. It's one of the reasons I judge no one. I don't know them.
GaryVee, fun to talk to you.
So much fun.
Thanks for taking the time.
Thank you. I am fascinated by how people respond to when I talk about accountability. It's poking, and so people don't want it, yet it's everything. It will do so much for people.
But it gets a little bit lonely sometimes. Shut everybody out.
I'd rather be lonely with myself and accountability than to have people around me that are pushing non-accountability. Having circles of energy that are pushing non-accountability, all those friends, the media, your feed, who are pushing blame and envy and jealousy, I'd rather be by myself than accountability.
A serial entrepreneur, 5 times New York Times best-selling author, put your hands together for Gary Vaynerchuk!
The number one way to grow anything when it comes to business is being the best at understanding where the underpriced attention of the world is. I've had more people ask me about, Gary, should I list homes on the metaverse than I've had people figuring out how to make perfect content on YouTube Shorts. We are obsessed with tomorrow. We are romantic about yesterday, and most everyone does not execute in today. My obsession of this keynote and this Q&A is to get the majority of this room very focused on today.
Thank you very much, Gary. Good big round of applause to Cecilia. She's going to be here with the Q&A with Gary.
With everyone already doing so much videos, and there's just so many similar videos going out, how would you do it to be more creative and not follow trends to stand out?
Why don't you just follow trends?
Because I don't want to copy. I think a lot of agents here feel the same way.
So let me understand. Because you don't want to copy, you're just going to let everybody else get the business?
Yeah, true. Okay.
I have a better idea. Why don't you copy and get some of the business?
But how would you stand out?
You are already standing out because you're a different human being. You might say one word differently. You might have one different joke. All of us are different. You could talk about your history. Again, you can control your privacy or not, but good news, you're already different because you're just a different human being. You're also going to have a listing that somebody else doesn't have. That already makes you different. The house is different. Don't worry about that part. It's one of those silly things that doesn't mean anything.
Guys, give it up to GaryVee.
Yeah, the Q&A is always the best. Because when you're getting Q&A, you can get the back and forth and like...
Well, and then you know what they're curious about.
Tell her no stress, no biggie. Baby, I'm just too jiggy. Better know I brought that with me. Case they get too iffy. Baby, don't stress, don't sweat it. Put it all on my bed. Know how I'm coming. And they know what we hang around do that.
The energy output of the last 36 hours is like a lot. Yeah, I think that was the big theme on stage today. Like,
Don't worry about what other people's opinion. Don't worry about the content being perfect. Just do it.
the reason people are not posting is they're insecure. We've got to figure that out. Most of all, you need to be detached of the positives and the negatives so that you can actually do. Unfortunately, most people are so hungry for the affirmation, it makes them vulnerable for the destruction. We need to think about how to create more mental frameworks that don't value the love and don't value the hate, which allows them to be happy.
Gary, such a pleasure to have you at Aldar Experts.
Thank you.
And I hope to see you soon.
Hope so.
Silhouettes of you are like a toy. Never really know just what
All right, Pete, let's do it.
with you I don't ever feel.
Give me that. That's because I've been playing. When I tell you I felt it, I was like, that's 100% going in. Plus, I need 1 million views on TikTok. That was so pumped about that.
You know I'm addicted to you, and it's twisted. You've been gifted with the evil voodoo. Got me coming back for more, even when I've been screwed. Dolls full of pins, pierce my heart straight through.
Okay, do's and don'ts in culture.
Do's, talk about things that you care about and you're passionate about and you know. Don'ts, try to jump on trends that you don't care about, but you're doing it because it seemingly is a trend.
Do's and don'ts in the workplace.
Do, deploy kind candor, but also deploy a system that eliminates cancerous individuals. Don'ts, don't look the other way when somebody's contributing to your bottom line, but they're destroying your culture.
Do's and don'ts when it comes to social media.
Do's, really learn it and do it yourself until you really understand it. Don'ts, don't outsource it to your 17-year-old niece because she's 17.
Gary Vaynerchuk, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thanks, Maha.
Appreciate it.
And my heart's black and blue.
What excites me about the future is what's always excited me about the human race, which is the human spirit always wins in the end. We have withstood so many challenges prior to what we're dealing with now. I have complete and utter confidence in our capacity to be able to handle the environmental issues, the humanitarian issues, and all the other issues. The thing that keeps me optimistic is history always tells you the future, and humans always win.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.